The U.S. Naval Academy has a program called OPINFO, OPINFO. Anyway, about 300 midshipmen go back to their hometown to raise awareness and tell people about the Naval Academy. And this year, coming back to West Virginia to talk about the Naval Academy is Chris Kay. Chris Kay is a Charleston native, GW grad, and he is a midshipman at the Naval Academy. And he's back home for the holidays. Chris, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Hoppy. Thanks for having me.
Is that right? How do you pronounce that?
OPINFO. I think it stands for Operational Information. They just use acronyms for everything.
I was going to say, so. You guys in the military, everything's an acronym. OPINFO.
Exactly.
All right. Well, what are you doing? You back talking to people? Who have you been talking to since you've been back?
Well, it was a little bit tough because Naval County was out of school this week for Thanksgiving. I came back. We had school Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but they let me out on last Friday. Mm-hmm. And I came back and I was interviewing kids that were interested in coming to the Naval Academy. I went to Charleston Catholic High School, and I went down to Jamie Dickinson's office and talked to high school juniors that were thinking about the academy, just really trying to get the word out, trying to tell them about the admissions process and everything they could expect if they were trying to pursue it.
Mm-hmm. Chris Kay is with us, and he is a midshipman, and he's been back for OPINFO. I was reading that wrong. OPINFO, where he tells people about the Naval Academy. So what kind of questions did they have? What'd you tell them?
Well, a lot of them, they asked about what our daily life is. They asked about the admissions process, and they were just really curious about like how people's lives changed when they came.
Yeah. How did yours change? I mean, because it is a dramatic change. High school, and you're BMOC at GW, then you go off to the Naval Academy, and you get they straighten you out pretty quick, I guess. So what's it like there when you get there?
Well, I mean, it definitely is a shock. I mean, you go in, and before you start at the Naval Academy, you have 7 weeks of a basic training-like environment. It's called Plebe Summer, where they go in, they shave your head, they take all of your clothes away and give you brand new clothes. It's really just an indoctrination into the military. And I mean, you're standing there with 40 other kids, and you don't know any of them. You have to make new friends. But I mean, after a while, you come back together because I mean, there are great people there, and I mean, it's just a great environment to be in.
How many times though? Now, be honest. How many times in the first 6-8 weeks did you think, "Oh my gosh, I got to get out of here"?
I mean, there was a few. I mean, it was tough. It was a culture shock. I mean, you go from being in high school where you're in charge of yourself, you make all your own decisions, to someone pretty much babysitting you all the time, telling you how to do everything, and all of a sudden you realize you forget how to tie your own shoes or something like that because everyone's telling you to do everything wrong. So it definitely is a bit of a shock.
So and I'm not going to dwell on this, but tell me that one moment then where something happened, you thought, I got to get the heck out of here. I mean, what was that one thing? And then we'll talk about the positives, because I think there are far more positives than negatives.
Well, I went in, and the 5th day, I had torn my labrum in high school playing basketball, and I had surgery on it. And the 5th day of this basic training, I went and I re-tore it when we were doing we were in trouble, and we were doing a lot of push-ups and stuff, and my arm slipped on the tile where we had been sweating, and I was sitting there in the emergency room, and I really didn't know what was going to happen, because I just had surgery on that shoulder, and I just torn it back up. So that was a pretty low moment.
Yeah. You know why I had that shoulder injury in high school? You were shooting too much.
Right. Exactly.
So, and then obviously things settle in, and is it after you get rolling, it's not as bad as one might think. I mean, obviously you get grilled, but the harassment's been reduced pretty significantly, hasn't it?
Right. Well, so you go through for 7 weeks, and then the academic year starts, and it goes back over the summer. It's all plebes, which is our name for freshmen,
mm-hmm.
and then the seniors are the ones that are kind of like your drill instructors,
mm-hmm.
more or less. But then the school year starts, and everyone comes back, and at that point, there still is some military aspect to it. There is still the getting up at 5:30 in the morning and going and working out, and there is still marching around. But I mean, it is a lot of a normal school day. I compare it a lot to a high school. I mean, we get up, and we're up at 7 o'clock every morning if you don't have a workout, and then we have class from 7:30 to 3:30. And then after that, you kind of have a sports time where you go and play intramurals or your varsity sport. and then you go study after that. I mean, everything's very structured, but it is a lot like a high school schedule at that point.
Chris Kay is with us, Charleston, West Virginia native, GW grad, and he is at the Naval Academy. So let's see, so you're in your second year, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Their second year, and he's back with a program where they come back and talk to young people who are interested in going to the academy. So what are you studying at Annapolis?
Well, Annapolis it has a huge reputation of being an engineering school. I actually went away from that. I'm studying cyber operations. It's the only major of that type in the country. It ties in a lot of computer science, and right now the only thing I'm doing is a ton of coding. But we also look at the policy, the ethics, and the law behind the stuff that you read about with China stealing information and things like that. So when I graduate, I can either go towards the path of hacking, anti-hacking, that type of stuff, or I could go towards the ethics or the law side of it.
Interesting. So would you go to law school from that, or just
potentially out of the Naval Academy? Everyone goes unrestricted line, which the JAG Corps, which is the law side of it, is a restricted line. So because of that, I would go, if I wanted to go that route, I would go and I would serve unrestricted line in a normal job, like on a surface ship or something like that.
Right.
And then after my 5-year commitment, then I could consider going to law school or something at that point if I wanted to pursue that route.
Chris Kay is with us, and he is second year at the Naval Academy, and he's back in town for a couple of days. You're going to Estonia and Germany next year, is that right? For what's that for?
That's correct. They have great opportunities for international programs. So through my major, I would go to Estonia for a cyber conference with professors from all over the world. And I had a friend that went there last year. He's a year older than me. And all of these professors are looking, and they're trying to start a major similar to the one that I'm in at the Naval Academy, because it's the only one of that type. And after that, I'm in Estonia for about a week. And then I'll go over to Germany to take a cyber class. It's some type of qualification. I haven't looked into it that much, but I know that it first half is a conference and the second half is a class. It's all expenses paid for through the military. You travel with the school, and it's just one of those really neat opportunities that you get from the Naval Academy.
The academies are reputed. They're known for some of the best education in the world. I know I have a friend of mine, Zach Spiker, who's the head basketball coach at Army, and he tells it's tough, obviously, recruiting some kids. He just says you're going to get the best education that can be offered in this country. In your second year now, do you feel that the quality of education is just unmatched?
Oh, it really is. It is an outstanding education. I mean, for me at least, it's not as tough as it could be just because we're so structured. I mean, I'm told when I have to study, so there's not really a whole. They definitely eliminate the distractions. So I do pretty well with it. But, I mean, yes, the academics there are very well known, and they are very tough. You know,
that's a great point, too, is that because it's so structured, you don't have as many distractions. And when your life is structured, then there's not a lot of time to, get in trouble or make mistakes. It's just, and time goes by very quickly when that's the case, and you're always busy doing something.
It does. Time does fly when I'm over there.
How's the food?
The food, okay, well, the food is really cool. So what they do at lunchtime, we go and we have a formation where we go and march, and it's almost like a mini parade every day. And then we march right into the mess hall, and there's 4,500 kids at the Naval Academy, and they feed us all at the same time and feed us all in the same time in the same mess hall, which is a pretty cool thing if anyone that's ever gone down and experienced it on a recruiting trip or having the opportunity to visit the Naval Academy, they always show you that, because they have ladies that are going through the hall with huge refrigerated carts or heated carts and serving all 4,500 people at one time, and we all eat together. And the food, I mean, it's better than you'd think for serving 4,500 people at the same time. I mean, it's obviously not a luxury cuisine, but I mean, I don't go hungry. I think the food's very good.
That's awesome.
Considering everything.
That's awesome. Chris Kay's with us. He's in his second year at the Naval Academy. He's back in West Virginia, raising awareness about the Naval Academy, talking to any young men and women who might be interested in going to the Naval Academy, becoming a midshipman. How many demerits have you gotten?
I haven't got any demerits, luckily.
What?
Yeah, I know. I've tried to behave myself. A couple of my friends have gotten in a little bit of trouble, but I've been lucky enough I still have 0. So.
Really? Wow. Yeah. I mean, can't you get demerits though just for not doing some of the basics, like how your room looks or your bed made, any of that kind of stuff? Do you get demerits for that?
No, the demerit system, it's more just for straight conduct issues. If you get in trouble for something even minor, they might give you 10 demerits, or the most they'll give you at one time is 100. And if you get 100 demerits, you get something that's called a black N. Because I mean, our logo is just like the N with a star.
Right.
And you get a sweater with a black. It's a gold sweater with a black N on it, and you get to wear it on Halloween if you get 100 demerits.
Oh, geez.
Which there are several people that do have that sweater, and they get to wear them around on Halloween. But I'm not anywhere close to that right now.
Are you going to the Army-Navy game?
Yes, they take the entire brigade of midshipmen and all of the cadets from West Point, and it's in Philadelphia this year. And we take up a good quarter of the stadium, and it's a really cool thing to look, even if it's on TV, because you have all of our black uniforms and all of their gray uniforms over there. I mean, it's one of the coolest looking student sections I've ever seen.
How much do they drill into you about beat Army?
Well, about 100 times every day. The freshmen, when they're in the hall, when they're in the dorms, they have to run. They can't walk. And when they're running, they always have to be in the direct middle of the hallway. So if they're turning a corner, they have to square it at 90 degrees, and they have to yell "Beat Army." So you hear "Beat Army" at least 100 times a day.